Linda Hamilton used to be that tough woman in Hollywood. The actress whose role as Sarah Connor in The Terminator changed the way a whole generation thought about strong women in movies. She played nice people on screen, but her real life was much darker than any part she played. She became close to James Cameron, who was known as the king of Hollywood ambition, when she was at the height of her fame. Even though they met in a fairy tale-like way, their relationship quickly turned into years of emotional chaos. They were married for only 2 years, and their divorce deal shocked everyone in Hollywood. Now that she is 69, Hamilton looks back on the relationship that captivated and almost killed her. What she finds out about it continues to shock classic movie fans. The 26th of September, 1956 saw the birth of Linda Carroll Hamilton in Salisbury, Maryland. She was born with her sister Leslie, who was an exact twin, just minutes before her. From the start, that fact didn't feel like a blessing at all. Instead, it felt terrible. Linda hated being mistaken for Leslie so much as a child that she couldn't fully explain it. She did everything possible to show that they were different. She changed the way her hair was cut, colored, and shaped her eyebrows. When that wasn't enough for her, she turned to food and gained 170 pounds to look nothing like her sister. There was something darker and deeper going on behind her defiance. Her mind didn't work the way other people's minds did. There was a current of instability that ran through her childhood and would shape everything that came after. She says that a memory from when she was 5 years old keeps coming back to haunt her. She remembers being caught hitting a dog with a stick. That picture has been with her whole life. Not as an explanation, but as a kind of early warning sign, a look at the person she was afraid she could turn into. Something was wrong with her, so her mother took her to the doctor. Before it was given a name, Linda Hamilton had bipolar illness, which she would lose her marriages, relationships, and sense of self. No one knew she had it, and it would not be diagnosed for decades. As a kid, she had really wanted to be a firefighter or an archaeologist. But by the time she was in her late teens, she had given up on those goals. She went to the Strasberg Institute in New York to study and then moved to Los Angeles in the early 1980s with the quiet drive that doesn't make itself known ahead of time. In 1979, she made her first movie. Then came Small Parts. She was putting something together, but she wasn't sure what it was yet. In 1984, she got the part that changed her life. James Cameron, a young Canadian director who had already shown how talented he was with Piranha 2 and had just finished The Terminator, cast Linda as Sarah Connor, a young waitress who finds out she is the mother of the future savior of humanity and has to fight off a machine sent from the future that is determined to kill her. The movie had a small budget and wasn't expected to do very well when it came out. It turned into a cultural event, which no one saw coming. Almost overnight, Linda Hamilton became one of the most recognizable faces in American movies. Sarah Connor was more than just a figure. Linda made her from the inside out. She was a symbol and a new kind of woman on TV. But she would learn over and over that success always seemed to come at the same time as chaos. James Cameron was married to Gale Anne Hurd at the time that The Terminator came out. She was one of the film's producers and had written the script with him. Before that, from 1978 to 1984, he was married to Sharon Williams. Although Linda and Cameron met on the set of The Terminator, they didn't start dating until they were working on The Terminator 2. Linda got the part of Katherine Chandler in Beauty and the Beast, a 3-season CBS show that ran from 1987 to 1989 and earned her a Golden Globe and an Emmy nod. It was the kind of long-term success that showed The Terminator wasn't a one-off. But she asked to be written out when she got pregnant during the 3rd season of the show. Bruce Abbott was the father of that child. She met him on the set of Tag, The Assassination Game in 1980. He played a crazy person who wanted to kill her. In December 1982, they got married. It might have needed to be a sign. Since then, Linda has been completely honest about her marriage to Bruce Abbott. In ways she couldn't understand or control, her bipolar condition was making her hard to live with. It wasn't yet diagnosed. During fights, she would choose to yell at him and blame him for things that had nothing to do with him. After they had a miscarriage while they were married, the problem got worse. She has said in public that Abbott finally broke up with her while she was pregnant with their son Dalton, who was born in 1989, and that he had good reasons for doing so. After 14 years, in 2004, Linda openly apologized to Bruce Abbott for the physical and emotional abuse she had caused him because she hadn't been diagnosed with her illness. It was the most honest thing a Hollywood star had ever said about a broken marriage. Cameron got a divorce from Kathryn Bigelow in 1991. They had married in 1989, but the marriage ended in part because Cameron became closer to Linda while working on Terminator 2. Linda has said, without much pride, that Bigelow's decision to file for divorce while Cameron and Linda were becoming close on set was the last straw in their relationship. When it came out in the summer of 1991, Terminator 2: Judgment Day was one of the most successful movies ever. One of the most talked about physical preparations in Hollywood history was Linda's transformation for the part. She trained hard and stripped down to a lean, muscular body, which shocked people who remembered Sarah Connor as a more soft character in the first movie. She knows she did something wrong. Cameron pushed and supported her, and she went beyond what was healthy. She had 2 miscarriages, which she says were partly caused by the hard physical routine. She wasn't told to stop by anyone. She wasn't told it was enough. Their daughter Josephine Archer Cameron was born on February 15, 1993. It looked like the rough seas might calm down for a moment. It didn't. From what Linda Hamilton has said about her life with James Cameron over the years, it sounds like they were deeply attracted to each other but not a good match in ways that neither of them could fix. She has said that their connection is a mystery to both of them and anybody else who knows about it. She told the New York Times, "That relationship was a mystery to all of us, even Jim and me, because we are so badly matched. I used to say we fit together like a puzzle. For every convexity he has, I have the opposite." Cameron was and still is one of the strictest and most demanding directors in Hollywood history. He was the type of person who would expect and accept nothing less on set. That quality, which made his movies technically amazing and hard on the soul to make, didn't go away when he got home. In an honest moment that surprised people who thought she would be angry, Linda said that she liked how controlled he was at first. She said it made her stronger. The fact that he was sure of what he wanted and had power over her made her want certain things. She finally saw his temper tantrums as a sign of weakness, a child having a temper tantrum, and that helped her accept him for who he was. But Linda said she was losing control by the time they moved in together and started raising Josephine. It was the worst time for her bipolar illness. Self-medicating with drugs and drink was what she was doing. She always fought with him, against everything in his life. She has said that she has hallucinations about her children and that she can't stop her mind from making violent pictures of them being hurt as she walks out of the house. During her worst times, she thought she was going to die. In the end, she said, I felt like I was going to die. I was just going to lay on the floor and let go of everything. It wasn't until 1995 that she was labeled with bipolar disorder. By that time, she and Cameron had already been through the kind of damage that happens when you have a mental illness that hasn't been treated for years and then live with the most ambitious director in Hollywood. On July 26, 1997, they got married. Before they got married, Cameron had been in an on-again, off-again romance with actress Susie Amos for a short time during a break that he and Linda had agreed to take. Cameron met Amos on the set of Titanic, the movie he was in charge of at the time. He started dating Amos while he and Linda were on break. He then broke up with Amos to marry Linda again. Linda later said, "Then when he started dating Susie, I changed my mind. He came back to me, and we got married." She said this with the tired clarity of someone who was telling a story that makes less sense the more she thinks about it. After that, he felt bad about what he had done and went back to her. Titanic came out in December 1997, 5 months after they got married. It made the most money of any movie ever and won 11 Academy Awards in one night, tying Ben-Hur and The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King for the most awards given in a single night. He said that he was king of the world while standing on the stage. He left behind a wife with a new daughter, a mental illness that had just been identified, and the loneliness of being married to someone whose attention had been completely focused on making the biggest movie ever. For Cameron, Titanic took him away from everything that wasn't himself. Linda has used a certain word to talk about how Titanic hurt her marriage. She told the Lady magazine, "Titanic was the mistress he left me for." In other interviews, She has said that he was the type of man who would rather be at work with a mistress than at home with his wife. He became hooked on the movie in a way that she finally realized was just him, not a betrayal of her specifically, but a basic truth about who he was. He put work above all else, and anyone who was in his life had to be okay with that. Linda wasn't able to. Being left for a thing instead of someone hurts more than anything else. At least one other person can make mistakes, can be known, and can be competed with or understood. You can't argue with a movie, a huge, all-encompassing, historically great movie that won 11 Academy Awards and made its director the most famous movie director in the world. Lynn Hamilton was with her daughter at home while James Cameron was making history at sea. She also said she wasn't feeling well. December 16, 1999, was the last day of the split. The wedding had happened 2 years and 5 months before. Linda was given $50 million as part of the deal. This was half of what Cameron was making from Titanic at the time of their breakup, which made their divorce one of the most expensive in Hollywood history. Later, she said in her usual blunt way that she had only asked for her fair share and he had given it to her. The clean parts were the deal and the money. The rest wasn't clean at all. It's interesting, she told the Daily Mail in 2010, because Susie was the gargoyle on the end of my bed while he was making Titanic. Now I'm the gargoyle on her bed because for Jim, the one who doesn't end up with him is always the one he wants. I'm the one who got away, and she has to live with that. It was a very brave statement from a woman who had been through the kind of marriage that destroys people and had chosen to understand it clearly. Cameron got married to Susie Amos in 2000, and they are still together. It's interesting that this is the only one of his 5 marriages that has lasted. On her own terms, Linda is okay with the math behind that. Linda Hamilton slowly put herself back together after her divorce, the way people who have really hit rock bottom do, not quickly or dramatically, but piece by piece. She's been clean for a long time. In 1995, she was told she had bipolar disorder, and she finally found a treatment plan that worked. Putting.